Stop for a second. This isn't just another phase. This isn't another passing mood. Something has already started moving. And it did not ask for your permission. Right now, whether you feel ready or not, a mental current is shifting around you. Conversations feel different. People feel different. Even your tolerance feels thinner, sharper, less forgiving. You're not imagining that. You're inside a recalibration. And here's the part nobody tells you. This shift does not reward availability. It exposes it. For too long, you have been reachable, instantly accessible, emotionally open on demand. You reply fast. You explain yourself thoroughly. You give second chances before someone even earns the first correction. And somewhere along the way, your energy became easy to consume. Free access feels generous. But free access gets treated like it costs nothing. And anything that costs nothing is rarely protected. This is the moment that truth becomes impossible to ignore. You are not here to be free. You are here to be valued. Feel the difference. Being free means anyone can step into your space without intention. Being expensive means entry requires awareness. It requires effort. It requires respect, not arrogance, not ego, not superiority, intention. And intention changes everything. Because the second you stop giving yourself away automatically, something uncomfortable happens. Silence grows. People notice. Energy shifts. You are about to enter a 48-hour window where every word you speak either raises your value or leaks it. Every reply either strengthens your presence or dilutes it. This is not about disappearing. This is about precision. You don't need to withdraw. You need to become selective. Selective with who gets your thoughts. Selective with who gets your explanations. Selective with who gets access to your emotional bandwidth. There is a difference between being kind and being consumed, and you've been dangerously close to the second one. Here is your assignment, and most people will never have the discipline to attempt it. A conversation fast, not complete silence, strategic silence. You speak when it adds value. You respond when it aligns, or you explain only when it is earned. No over-clarifying, no over-sharing, no overextending, because every unnecessary word scatters your authority. Right now, communication carries weight. Words are not just sounds, they are signals, frequency, positioning. When you talk less, your presence expands. When you react less, your perception sharpens. When you stop filling every gap with explanation, people are forced to feel your gravity instead of your accessibility. And gravity is powerful. You've been loud with your availability. It's time to become loud with your restraint. Watch what happens when you don't immediately respond. Watch what surfaces when you don't rescue conversations. Watch how quickly dynamics reveal themselves when you remove constant access. This is not manipulation, it's filtration. When you stop over-talking, you start overseeing. You notice tone shifts. You catch subtle disrespect. You feel energy imbalances instantly, because clarity doesn't arrive when the universe shouts. It arrives when you stop drowning it out. The truth is, your voice gains power the moment it is no longer guaranteed. Think about that. If someone knows you will always pick up, always reply, always show up, always accommodate, where is the incentive to honor your time? Where is the awareness of your value? Scarcity creates respect, and respect changes how you are treated. This is the pivot point. You are not becoming distant. You are becoming defined. And definition intimidates those who benefited from your blur. Something inside you already knows this. That subtle discomfort you've been feeling, that quiet urge to pull back, that sudden exhaustion from conversations that once felt normal. That is not moodiness. That is awakening. Your energy is recalibrating to a higher standard, And once you feel what it's like to hold your words instead of spilling them, to observe instead of overreact, to choose instead of automatically give, you will never go back, because you'll finally understand this. You were never meant to be easily accessed. You were meant to be intentionally approached. The shift has started. The only question now is, will you rise with it, or keep offering yourself at a discount? Something subtle is happening beneath the surface. And if you're not paying attention, you'll mistake it for restlessness. It's not restlessness, it's expansion. Your clarity is increasing, and clarity changes price. There are moments in life when a person's value rises quietly. No announcement, no applause, just an internal shift where confusion dissolves and self-awareness sharpens like glass. This is one of those moments. Think of it as energetic inflation. Not financial, not external, personal. When your perception sharpens, your standards follow. When your standards rise, your accessibility naturally decreases. Not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you finally see what drains you. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. This is the phase where your spiritual stock increases. The same presence, the same heart, but elevated discernment. And discernment makes you rare. You will notice it in small ways first. You hesitate before agreeing. You pause before committing. You question dynamics you once accepted without thought. That pause, that hesitation, that is value solidifying. When clarity rises, your energy gains weight. People feel it. They may not understand it, but they feel it. You're no longer the person who can be emotionally grabbed at random. You're no longer the default support system for everyone's chaos. You're no longer available simply because someone demands your attention. And this is where growth becomes uncomfortable, because elevation always comes with filtration. Some people will drift. Some connections will loosen. Some conversations will fade. Not because you did something wrong, but because access was the only glue holding them together. Growth is not just gaining, it is outgrowing. And outgrowing can feel lonely before it feels powerful. There is a trade-off most people never talk about. When you level up internally, your external world has to reorganize to match it. That reorganization can look like silence, distance, space. But what replaces it? Peace. And peace is proof. Now, here is where many people panic. During this expansion, your identity starts stretching. You feel pulled toward ideas you once dismissed. You entertain possibilities that used to scare you. You imagine futures that don't resemble your past. And your mind whispers, "Am I becoming inconsistent?" No, you are becoming dimensional. For too long, you've lived inside a single storyline about who you are. One label, one personality, one predictable pattern. But right now, that storyline is cracking open. And through that crack, multiple versions of you are asking to be explored. The disciplined version, the bold version, the detached version, the creative version, the ambitious version, the peaceful version. They are all real. They were just waiting. This is not identity collapse. It is identity expansion. Imagine standing in front of a mirror that doesn't show one reflection, but several. Each one a possible evolution. Each one whispering, "Try me." You are not unstable for feeling pulled in new directions. You are not confused for wanting more. You are not disloyal to your past for desiring a different future. You are rehearsing who you are about to become. And rehearsal is powerful, because when you allow yourself to mentally explore a new version of you, you reduce the fear of stepping into it physically. This is the genius of this phase. You get to experiment internally before you commit externally. You try on identities the way someone tries on outfits before a defining event. None of them permanent, none of them wrong. Just exploration. But here is the part that demands awareness. If you resist this expansion, if you cling to the outdated version of yourself because it feels familiar, you will feel tension build inside you. Tension between who you were and who you are becoming. And that tension does not disappear. It intensifies. The mind was never meant to stay small once it sees more. So lean in. Question more. Imagine bigger. Allow yourself to consider paths that once felt, not for someone like me. Because the truth is, the version of you who prayed for more cannot survive inside the identity built for less. Your flexibility right now is not weakness. It is leverage. Rigid people break, expanding people evolve. And evolution always looks messy before it looks masterful. This is the phase where you stop asking, "Who have I been?" and start asking, "Who am I allowed to become?" And the moment you fully accept that question, your value rises again. Quietly, powerfully, irreversibly. Now listen carefully, because this is where most people lose control of the very breakthrough they prayed for. Expansion feels powerful. Clarity feels intoxicating. New ideas feel electric. But electricity without grounding burns. As your mind accelerates, your body becomes the battlefield. You won't notice it at first. It will feel productive, inspired, charged. You'll stay up later than usual because your thoughts won't slow down. You'll skip meals without realizing it. You'll forget water, ignore rest, push past fatigue, and you'll call it momentum. It's not momentum. It's overstimulation. When mental energy expands too fast without physical anchoring, you begin to float, and floating feels good. Until you realize you have nothing solid beneath you. This phase sharpens intuition, yes, but it also amplifies mental speed. Ideas multiply, possibilities branch, scenarios stack, conversations replay, future outcomes simulate in your mind before reality even moves. And if your body is neglected during this acceleration, something subtle begins to crack. You feel wired but tired, focused but foggy, motivated but strangely emotional. That contradiction is the warning. Your nervous system can only process so much elevation at once. When you ignore hunger, your stability drops. When you ignore sleep, perception distorts. When you ignore hydration, emotional regulation weakens. And suddenly, what felt like a breakthrough turns into burnout, disguised as inspiration. This is the crash nobody talks about. The one that happens right before the breakthrough would have landed. You don't collapse dramatically, you unravel quietly. Impatience rises, irritation spikes, doubt creeps in. You question progress you were confident about days ago, not because you regressed, but because your foundation weakened. Here's the truth. Your body is not slowing you down. It is stabilizing your expansion. Think of your mind as a hot air balloon. Brilliant, expansive, capable of seeing far beyond the horizon, but without weight at the base, without grounded tethering. That balloon drifts into chaos. Food is not routine. It is regulation. Water is not optional. It is clarity support. Sleep is not laziness. It is neurological recalibration. These are not basic habits. They are energetic anchors. Right now, your physical discipline determines whether this shift elevates you or exhausts you. And here's what makes this trap dangerous. It doesn't feel dangerous. It feels like productivity. It feels like rapid evolution. It feels like mental brilliance. Until the crash hits. Sudden fatigue, emotional swings, overthinking spirals, second-guessing everything. You were rising. Then you were spiraling. The difference? Grounding. If you respect your physical limits, your clarity sharpens even more. If you nourish your body, your intuition becomes precise instead of chaotic. If you rest when required, Your ideas become sustainable instead of explosive. Expansion must be supported, because the goal is not to rise fast, it is to rise steadily. Your body is cooperating with this shift, not resisting it. Those subtle cues, thirst, fatigue, tension, are not inconveniences. They are calibration signals. Ignore them, and your breakthrough fragments. Honor them, and your breakthrough stabilizes. This is the discipline phase, the part that separates temporary elevation from permanent evolution. Anyone can feel inspired. Few can sustain it. And you are not here for a temporary high. You are here for structural change. So ground yourself. Eat intentionally. Hydrate consistently. Sleep without guilt. Move your body. Breathe deeper. Anchor down. So your mind can rise higher without pulling you into exhaustion. Because what's coming next isn't just internal. It's relational. And when your energy stabilizes, people begin responding to you differently. Not because you demanded it, but because your frequency stopped fluctuating. Stability commands respect, and respect changes everything. This is where it becomes undeniable. The moment you stop discounting yourself, the room changes. As your mind accelerates, your body becomes the battlefield. You won't notice it at first. It will feel productive, inspired, charged. You'll stay up later than usual because your thoughts won't slow down. You'll skip meals without realizing it. You'll forget water, ignore rest, push past fatigue, and you'll call it momentum. It's not momentum. It's overstimulation. When mental energy expands too fast without physical anchoring, you begin to float, and floating feels good. Until you realize you have nothing solid beneath you. This phase sharpens intuition, yes, but it also amplifies mental speed. Ideas multiply, possibilities branch, scenarios stack, conversations replay, future outcomes simulate in your mind before reality even moves. And if your body is neglected during this acceleration, something subtle begins to crack. You feel wired but tired, focused but foggy, motivated but strangely emotional. That contradiction is the warning. Your nervous system can only process so much elevation at once. When you ignore hunger, your stability drops. When you ignore sleep, perception distorts. When you ignore hydration, emotional regulation weakens. And suddenly, what felt like a breakthrough turns into burnout, disguised as inspiration. This is the crash nobody talks about. The one that happens right before the breakthrough would have landed. You don't collapse dramatically, you unravel quietly. Impatience rises, irritation spikes, doubt creeps in. You question progress you were confident about days ago, not because you regressed, but because your foundation weakened. Here's the truth. Your body is not slowing you down. It is stabilizing your expansion. Think of your mind as a hot air balloon. Brilliant, expansive, capable of seeing far beyond the horizon. But without weight at the base, without grounded tethering, that balloon drifts into chaos. Food is not routine. It is regulation. Water is not optional. It is clarity support. Sleep is not laziness. It is neurological recalibration. These are not basic habits. They are energetic anchors. Right now, your physical discipline determines whether this shift elevates you or exhausts you. And here's what makes this trap dangerous. It doesn't feel dangerous. It feels like productivity. It feels like rapid evolution. It feels like mental brilliance. Until the crash hits. Sudden fatigue, emotional swings, overthinking spirals, second-guessing everything. You were rising. Then you were spiraling. The difference? Grounding. If you respect your physical limits, your clarity sharpens even more. If you nourish your body, your intuition becomes precise instead of chaotic. If you rest when required, Your ideas become sustainable instead of explosive. Expansion must be supported, because the goal is not to rise fast, it is to rise steadily. Your body is cooperating with this shift, not resisting it. Those subtle cues, thirst, fatigue, tension, are not inconveniences. They are calibration signals. Ignore them, and your breakthrough fragments. Honor them, and your breakthrough stabilizes. This is the discipline phase, the part that separates temporary elevation from permanent evolution. Anyone can feel inspired. Few can sustain it. And you are not here for a temporary high. You are here for structural change. So ground yourself. Eat intentionally. Hydrate consistently. Sleep without guilt. Move your body. Breathe deeper. Anchor down. So your mind can rise higher without pulling you into exhaustion. Because what's coming next isn't just internal, it's relational. And when your energy stabilizes, people begin responding to you differently. Not because you demanded it, but because your frequency stopped fluctuating. Stability commands respect, and respect changes everything. This is where it becomes undeniable. The moment you stop discounting yourself, the room changes, not because you announced it, not because you demanded respect, but because your energy stopped negotiating. When you raise your internal standard, the external world reorganizes automatically, quietly, precisely. And this is the phase most people misunderstand. They think becoming expensive means becoming cold, detached, unreachable. No, it means becoming congruent. You finally give yourself the same loyalty you've been handing out without question. You stop overextending just to keep peace. You stop shrinking to maintain comfort. You stop offering unlimited emotional labor to people who ration theirs. And the second that shift locks in, something powerful happens. The mirror activates. You don't change the people around you, you reveal them. Watch closely. There are 4 reactions that surface when your worth rises. First, the ones who rise with you, they adjust naturally. They respect your time without complaint. They honor your boundaries without interrogation. They don't require explanations because their maturity meets your evolution. These people were never attached to your accessibility. They were connected to your authenticity. They stay. Second, the quiet exit. No confrontation, no dramatic fallout, just distance. Why? Because convenience was their only currency. When you stopped being easy to access, the transaction ended. This isn't abandonment, it's exposure. They weren't aligned with your growth. They were aligned with your availability. Third, the negotiators. These are the ones who test you, push lightly against your new limits, joke about your boundaries, minimize your needs. They will say things like, "You've changed," and they're right. But what they really mean is, "You stopped being easy for me." They are reacting to the loss of control, not the loss of connection. Pay attention to how they respond when you don't fold. That response tells you everything. And finally, the rare ones. The ones who recognize your new frequency immediately. No resistance, no insecurity, no competition. They've grown too. They don't feel threatened by your evolution. They feel inspired by it. These are the ones who meet you eye to eye. Not because you lowered yourself, but because they elevated themselves. This is the filtration phase, and filtration is not cruelty. It is clarity. You are not responsible for maintaining dynamics that only functioned when you were undervalued. Elevation doesn't create tension. It exposes imbalance that was already there. The difference now, you can see it. And once you see it, you cannot pretend you don't. Here's the deeper truth. When your energy was scattered, people interacted with fragments of you. When your energy becomes intentional, they must face the whole version. And not everyone is comfortable with that. But that discomfort is not your burden to carry. You are not here to remain digestible. You are here to be defined. The Gemini Mirror does not distort. It clarifies. It shows you who respects your time, who values your presence, who only liked you when you were unlimited. And this is where power settles in. You stop chasing. You stop convincing. You stop explaining your worth to people who benefited from misunderstanding it. Instead, you observe. You let actions speak. You let patterns repeat. You let silence answer what words cannot. Because when your value rises, you don't need to argue for it. It becomes visible, and visibility changes the room forever. Now breathe. Because this is the part where you stop forcing and start receiving. Most people misunderstand energy like this. They think when momentum builds, they have to think harder, analyze deeper, plan faster, solve everything before it slips away. But this phase doesn't reward chasing. It rewards openness. You don't need to hunt answers right now. You need to make space for them. There is a difference. When you chase clarity, you create noise. When you allow clarity, you create alignment. And alignment moves quietly. Watch how information begins to find you. A sentence you overhear that lands too perfectly. A message that shifts your entire mood. A coincidence that feels almost intentional. An insight that arrives while you're doing something ordinary. Washing dishes, walking alone, standing in the shower. These are not accidents. They are deliveries. When your mind relaxes, it becomes receptive. When you stop gripping, you start noticing, and noticing changes everything. You are not meant to solve your entire future in one night of overthinking. You are meant to recognize the signals already moving toward you. This is one of the rare windows where the universe does half the work. Conversations shift, doors subtly open. Dynamics clarify themselves without confrontation. You don't push, you observe, you don't demand proof. You receive confirmation. And here's what's truly happening beneath it all. You are redefining your value in real time. Not loudly, not dramatically, but definitively. The way you speak is changing. The way you respond is changing. The way you protect your time is changing. And because of that, the way you are treated is changing. You may not see the full picture yet. You may not understand every shift. Some changes may even feel subtle, unfamiliar, slightly uncomfortable. That does not mean you are falling apart. It means you are reorganizing. There is a difference between collapse and recalibration. Collapse feels chaotic. Recalibration feels intentional. And even if this phase feels strange, notice something. You are more aware, more selective, more grounded than you were before. That is not regression. That is refinement. You don't have to perform for love anymore. You don't have to overextend to maintain connection. You don't have to dilute yourself to be accepted. Let this shift teach you how to choose yourself without guilt, how to hold boundaries without fear, how to value your energy without apology. Because when you stop offering yourself by default, your presence becomes deliberate, and deliberate presence is powerful. Over the next few days, move calmly, respond slowly, observe deeply. Let people show you who they are. Let opportunities reveal their weight. Let answers arrive without interrogation. Your only responsibility right now is alignment. Alignment with your needs. Alignment with your limits. Alignment with your evolving identity. The rest will adjust. It always does. You are not losing people. You are losing misalignment. You are not becoming distant. You are becoming defined. You are not shrinking. You are refining. And refinement always looks quiet before it looks powerful. Trust the quiet. Trust the space. Trust the shift. Because what remains after filtration? What stabilizes after grounding? What aligns after expansion is a version of you that finally understands its own worth. And once you understand your worth, you stop asking for permission to live at that level. Stay open, stay steady, stay intentional. The clarity you've been searching for is already searching for you.